Hello, it's good to be with you. My name is Fr Stephen Wang and I'm the main presenter on the Sycamore films, and I want to give an introduction to the Sycamore programme, especially for those who haven't heard much about it before. Just to do four things. First, a quick overview. Second, the key ingredients of Sycamore. Third, some practical information for you. And fourth, how to get started. So let's just dive in. Part 1, a quick overview of Sycamore. Well, what is it? What is Sycamore? On the one hand, it's simply a set of films, a set of resources, a course that you can run in your parish, your school, your chaplaincy, your prison. There are many similar courses, all trying to do roughly the same thing in slightly different ways, all doing them in fantastic ways, and just we're part of this world of programmes and resources and courses. But on the other hand, Sycamore is much more than just a course. It's a whole vision of evangelisation and catechesis, helping to bring people together, to build community, to deepen friendships, to open up discussion and community, and lead people on a journey of faith. So in this wider sense, it's all about not just a course for those participants that happen to be there, but it's about a vision of renewing our churches and parishes and communities. So just in this presentation, I want to give you a flavour of the nuts and bolts of Sycamore, and also of this bigger vision as well. So there we go, an introduction just in 1 minute. Now, what are the key ingredients of Sycamore? Well, I've written out 6 here. Let me just work through them with you. What makes Sycamore Sycamore? First, there are some beautiful resources, beautifully produced films. They share the richness and the beauty of the Catholic Christian faith. They are about 20-25 minutes long, but in fact each session, each long film, each main Sycamore session is broken down into short bite-sized pieces so that it's not too heavy, it's manageable, it's digestible. And in every film there are loads of stories and examples and anecdotes, lives of the saints, Catholic history, using the stories of the locations where we've been filming. So we believe there's some wonderful, beautifully produced films, and that they're a gift and an inspiration in themselves. But secondly, within every film there is some clear Catholic teaching. There's something to learn, to take away, which is faithful to the teaching of the Catholic Church and to the scriptures and to the Catholic tradition. When people come to a Sycamore course, whether they're committed Catholics or whether they're inquirers coming along for the first time nervously, they've got lots of different expectations. But we believe one of the clear expectations is they want to learn something and take something away with them, to take something from the film. So, as I say, there's always, as part of every film, some clear Catholic teaching. But to make that as accessible as possible, to use ordinary language, not to use Christian jargon which can just bemuse people or just turn them off. One of the phrases we used when we were making the films was, this would mean something to English listeners, to make the films more Radio 2 than Radio 4. Radio 2, to make it very accessible and ordinary, and just speaking to ordinary people in ordinary language and trying to avoid highfalutin jargon and Christian language that doesn't mean anything to anyone if they're not used to it and not introduced to it in the right way. Of course, part of the reason for the programme is to help people to grow into this Christian tradition and to learn some of the beautiful language and the teaching, but to do that gently and slowly. The third ingredient, there's an atmosphere of welcome in the Sycamore session, in the meeting, in the group. Real emphasis, especially to the leaders, as you would train the leaders, as you would bring your team together, a real emphasis on a warm welcome for everyone who comes to the group, to the session, whether it's online or whether it's in person. to develop an atmosphere of friendship. This is what the meal serves for. Very often, if possible, if you're meeting in person, you'll have a meal together, or at least a coffee and a posh donut or something, but just to break the ice, to help people to relax, to be themselves. So there's an atmosphere of community, friendship, people growing together, being natural. It's not judgmental. It's not, who are these strange people? It's completely ordinary and welcoming. And if you can get this atmosphere right, not as some sort of problematic thing, but if you can just get it right through your love and friendship and welcome as the team, then so many other things flow from that. The fourth ingredient, a real focus on discussion. So I've spoken about the films, the input, the Catholic teaching, but 3 times in every session you will break for a short discussion, usually in groups, in small groups around a table, or in remote groups, in buzz groups or breakout rooms or whatever. And there's a real focus here on inviting honest discussion, positively. Sycamore provides the questions to get the discussion started. It's in the DNA of every film. You watch a little bit of film and up pops a main question with 3 supplementary questions in case you run out of things to talk about. And then to train the leaders not to be teachers, that's not the primary role of the group discussion leader, but to train the leaders to invite honest discussion and sharing and questions and respectful disagreement, and just, this is how people learn. They get together, they have a conversation, they talk, they explore together, and they trusted each other enough to be honest about their questions and doubts and uncertainties. And when that happens, people can learn in their own way, they can take things on board gently, they can learn by speaking, they can learn by listening. There's no pressure to speak, but there's an invitation to be yourself and to speak as much or as little as you want to. The fifth ingredient, Sycamore, is about not just the team leaders and the 15 or 20 people at the session. It's about involving the whole community, the parish, the chaplaincy, whatever. If you're running a Sycamore course, hopefully the parish priest or a volunteer would speak about this at the end of Mass. You'd be inviting people in the whole community, to pray for the success of Sycamore and for those coming. It's not just the leaders and the volunteers directly involved in the team, but they're asking others to pray for them. You're encouraging the whole community, if it's an evangelization course, for example, to invite friends, to bring friends, to come themselves, so that when Sycamore takes root in a parish, it energizes and involves the whole parish, and it gets the whole parish praying and thinking about what it means to be a Christian community and to be the church. And the sixth ingredient is prayer. All the time, prayer is woven into the work of Sycamore and the team. The team is praying together and for each other. They're praying for the participants, for the guests, for those who will be part of this programme over the weeks ahead. The parish or the chaplaincy is inviting the wider parish and chaplaincy to pray for the ministry and mission of the community through Sycamore and through other things. And very often, if possible, you would have a dedicated prayer group, a prayer team, praying behind the scenes for the Sycamore group and for the participants. So the beginning, the middle and the end, before and after, prayer is woven into Sycamore, and it's being handed over to the Lord so that it's his work and not just the participants or the leaders. Okay, there are the main ingredients of Sycamore. If you've got time, you might want to have a look at the trailer now. This is on the website, it's on the homepage, in fact, sycamore.fm. Sycamore.fm. You can have a look at the trailer just to get, I've been talking about the films, and it's just to get a feel of the films, if you've got a minute now. Okay, the third part, practical information. Practical information. Just a list here of some of the features of Sycamore that you might find helpful. Everything you need to run Sycamore is available online on the website. Everything. All the films, all the training materials, all the follow-on resources for participants and leaders, all the background materials, all the reading materials, everything you need to run Sycamore is available online, and everything that you need is free to use. Everything that you need for the core Sycamore courses is free to use. So you don't need to pay a subscription. This was our model in the beginning, before the pandemic. We had a subscription model and parishes and communities had to sign up. But during the first stage of the COVID pandemic, we wanted to make Sycamore as accessible as possible to everyone and for money not to be a barrier. So we've taken down the paywall and everything is there for you to use, free, without any payments or any cash. So we want to make it as accessible as possible. Secondly, each session has a really clear structure. So a typical Sycamore session, you welcome guests. If you're in person, it's a meal, it's a drink, it's some time to settle and relax, or you find ways of doing that online. You show the film, you press play, but the film really, it's 3 short films together. So you show the first section of the film, 5 or 6 minutes, and then you have the discussion questions pop up on the screen. You pause the film and you have some time for discussion. You have a key question, open-ended. It's not like what is the answer. It's an open-ended question that invites discussion and doesn't presuppose prior knowledge. And then there's some follow-up questions if you need them. And then you come back to the next bit of film, 5 or 6 minutes, then some more discussion, then the next bit of film, then some more discussion. And when you've finished, up on the screen there's some follow-on resources that participants can read or watch at home. So they've got something to remember, they don't have to take notes, and they can go deeper if they want to. So there's a really practical strength of Sycamore, I think. There's a very clear structure to every Sycamore session. And that means, the next point, Sycamore is really easy to use. For leaders, volunteers, catechists, school teachers, ordinary parishioners inviting friends to an informal Sycamore group, it's designed to be really foolproof, off the peg, out of the box. Now, of course, you need to do some preparation, and if you're with a larger group of leaders, some training and planning and induction. Of course you do. I'm not saying you can do this in your sleep or carelessly, but it really is designed to be as easy to use as possible. Everything is there for you, everything's online, everything's freely accessible. You know the structure, you press play, you lead the discussion. That takes a little bit of experience and skill, but it's not difficult. You don't have to have the knowledge of the whole catechism or the whole Bible, because the input is there for you. You can guide and support the discussion. You can point people where to look afterwards. You can pray before and afterwards, but everything is there. It's really easy to use. Next, it's a comprehensive programme. If you do the whole package, you don't have to, but if you do, there are 20 sessions, 20 films that together they encompass all 4 pillars of the catechism. It leads people from initial curiosity to an encounter with Jesus Christ and his church as people hear the Christian message possibly for the first time, and then to a vision of the doctrinal and sacramental and moral and spiritual teaching of the church. So you're going deeper and deeper, and you've touched on, in a profound way, the 4 main sections, the 4 main pillars of the catechism. So that's the 20 sessions, the comprehensive vision. But it's a modular programme. It's modular so that you can take different sessions and put them together into a unique pathway through the modules. Simply put, a different course. And we've done this for you. You can do it yourself, of course, but we've done this for you on the website. On the pathways, the courses section, we've got over 30 different Sycamore courses that you can run, putting together a selection of modules so that they form short, medium and longer courses just to fit the needs of your group. Which modules are appropriate for your group, which course works for you. You can, for example, run a short 6 or 7 week inquiry group. You can lead into a longer RCIA group. You might have a 9-week confirmation group, or you have a bit more time and you can turn it into a 12-week confirmation group. You might have just a few weeks to work with parents of your First Communion children, or you might have a whole academic year with your 6th form core RE, your general RE lessons as a teacher. There's an Advent course, a Lent course, catechesis, evangelization, faith formation. There are so many different pathways and courses, and we hope that whatever you need is there for you. Another practical thing is everything can be run as remote groups as well as in-person groups. We've got so much experience now after the lockdowns of the pandemic about how Sycamore can be run remotely, and we've got a whole section in the website about how to run remote groups. And we've learnt that in some situations it's even better, strangely, to run it remotely because it allows people to meet more easily. And in a beautiful way, there's a kind of freedom in the discussion for some people that isn't there meeting in person. But of course, you can meet in person, you can run physical groups, you can run something in your parish hall, in your school, in your home. And the lovely thing is, if you need to, you can switch from in-person groups to remote groups and back again, or you can have groups running in parallel, or you can run a hybrid where there's 10 of you in a room and another 10 back home watching remotely. With remote groups, of course, there are different ways of running it. Will you watch the film together? Will people watch the films beforehand? That's up to you, and there's lots of advice on the website. If you need them, there are subtitles that we've done through our international teams, Sycamore subtitles in currently Spanish, French, Arabic, Portuguese, Dutch, Norwegian, Polish, Swedish, Vietnamese, Lithuanian, Danish. That's 11. There's more to come. These are just the communities that we've been working with globally that have needed these languages to run Sycamore back home. But if it's helpful for you, wherever you are, you know that your participants, if they speak these languages, can use these subtitles. It's been lovely for me and many of us to hear the testimonies of those who've been involved in Sycamore. Group leaders have spoken about what a blessing it has been for their parishes and chaplaincies. The excitement of seeing a group come together, a little bit nervous at the beginning, then breaking the ice just through the chats and the meal or the conversations, and people growing in trust, relaxing, friendships developing, and just then the joy of being together, the joy of an honest discussion, and over time the joy of getting to know each other in friendship and growing in faith. Sycamore really works. It really works. It's got the heart of the Christian faith. It's got the love of fellow Christians and those who are there at the group, whatever their faith. It's got the adventure of exploring something beautiful and important together, and it's got that ongoing respect and love and friendship that just grows when people are together in a group situation like this. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience to hear about Sycamore, how it's been working, and especially to hear the testimonies of the guests. People coming often, as I say at the beginning, a little bit nervous. What am I coming to? if they're coming to an evangelization group, who are these Christians? If they're coming to a faith formation group and they've not been to anything like that before, but to see their testimonies and to hear them about how welcome they have felt, and the joy of the discussions and the excitement of sharing faith and growing in faith. We're often asked, what makes Sycamore different from other programmes? There are many other programmes of evangelisation and catechesis, especially I know a lot here in the UK and a lot from America. Well, first of all, not to deny that Sycamore has lots in common with so many other programmes of evangelisation and catechesis, and it owes a debt to what we've learnt from other programmes in the UK and Australia and America and elsewhere. But I do think that there is a unique combination of elements in Sycamore. I mean, I've just said this already, but just to put them together and summarise. What makes Sycamore unique and a little bit special, I think? Sycamore is Catholic from the roots up, and it's rooted in our amazing Catholic history here in Britain. Sycamore gives a comprehensive vision of the Catholic Christian faith, touching on all four areas of the Catechism: our creedal faith, what we believe, the liturgy and the sacraments, living the Christian life and the moral teaching of the Church, and personal prayer and spirituality. This comprehensive vision. And Sycamore is modular, as I've said, so that there are dozens of different courses and pathways available and ready to use, depending on which sessions you need for your pastoral needs in your community. And again, as I've said, Sycamore has a very powerful methodology. Very short segments of input, 5 or 6 minutes, followed by group discussion so that people don't get bored and leaders can keep things moving and have the confidence that the Sycamore programme has a flow and a direction. All of this, all these elements, I think, create something very special and I would say a little bit unique about Sycamore. And finally, in this practical session, just in case you're thinking, why the name Sycamore? Why have we called it Sycamore? Well, in the Bible, Jesus comes to the town of Jericho in St. Luke's Gospel. A man called Zacchaeus is curious about Jesus. He climbs a sycamore tree to get a better view because he's too short to see Jesus properly. And when he climbs the tree, he finally meets Jesus. Jesus spots him. They begin a conversation and the life of Zacchaeus is changed forever. So the sycamore tree seems to be a perfect image of something that helps people to have a wider perspective on life and faith, helps them to meet the Lord, but then leads to a relationship and a friendship that's far beyond Sycamore itself. Zacchaeus comes down from the tree and goes to have some time with the Lord. Okay. Finally, part 4, just to finish, how to get started. Let's say you're interested and curious or even enthusiastic. What do you do? Well, the main thing I want to say is please explore the website www.sycamore.fm. Sycamore.fm. Everything's there is there that you need, so just really explore it. There's a section of the menu about training, a section about planning with lots of sub-pages, a section about how to run remote groups, and all the resources are filmed. So just have some time with your team exploring. Sycamore is here to support you in what you're already doing. You are doing or wanting to do some catechesis, some sacramental preparation, some school RE, some evangelisation and inquiry groups, some work with parents. Whatever it is you're trying to do pastorally, Sycamore is here to help you to do what you already want to do, and hopefully to give you the tools that make it much, much easier and more enjoyable and more effective. You might know exactly what you want to do now. Oh yeah, I've got a confirmation class, I've seen I can use Sycamore, well let's just try it. And you can do all the training and planning that you need, in which case just dive in. Some groups want to run Sycamore exactly as it's suggested, out of the box, if you like, a model Sycamore course. This is what we do. And to go all in, we're going to use Sycamore to run our X, Y or Z. And it will give us the structure and the resources and the training, great. But other people want to use Sycamore as a supplement, to choose a few sessions, or to do a very short course, or just to keep running your own course which is well established, and to pick out one or two films or one or two parts of the Sycamore films and just pick and mix and break it apart and use what's helpful. That's fine. But if you're not using Sycamore for something you're already doing, then I'd encourage you to do something new. And especially under the headings of evangelization and outreach, and also faith formation. This is how I think if you're not sure how to use Sycamore and you don't need it for your catechesis or your teaching or whatever, then I think Sycamore can be a real help. This is where Sycamore started, in evangelization, in running an inquiry group that you welcome friends and family and neighbours. It's there to help people step into and learn about, hopefully for the first time, the Christian faith. But also, if you're not running any faith formation, to use this to help your parishioners, your students to grow in faith and to deepen their own faith so that they might then want to go out into mission and into evangelization. Spend some time with the website, see what's useful, and then my last bit of advice is just give it a go. Try Sycamore and see how it works. Don't worry too much. Don't over-plan. Remember, the perfect is the enemy of the good. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Don't try and run this perfect catechetical or evangelization program. Just, if it's on your heart, if you've been moved by the idea of Sycamore, if you're excited by it, pray that you can find one or two people who can join with you, a core team. Maybe advertise a taster session. Of course, you need to work with your parish priest, get him on board if he's not. Advertise a taster session, see who comes, maybe then run a little course on the basis of that taster session, that pilot session. See how people respond, see how they enjoy it, and out of that initial group, see if you can get together a core team, a leadership team that would really want to go deeper with Sycamore and see how you can use it effectively in your parish or chaplaincy. Very often, once a parish begins to understand how Sycamore works, becomes familiar with it, then they see how easy and effective it is to use and how it can be used in so many other situations that they hadn't imagined at the beginning. One parish in the north of England where a friend is running Sycamore, they started just with an inquiry group. A couple of leaders, two or three people, and 10 or 15 people coming just to find out more about the Christian faith. They got the bug. They understood Sycamore. They realised its potential. They then used it in their RCIA group to structure their RCIA. Then they began using some of the sessions for parents of children who were coming with their children for First Holy Communion. Then with young adults who wanted to do something in the parish. And then they began using it with teachers in the school to help them understand the Catholic ethos of the school, and with sixth formers in the school, but as part of their core general RE curriculum. So Sycamore was begun in one parish very tentatively, it was understood, it began to bear fruit, and that parish then realised the potential of using Sycamore in so many different ways. I hope that can happen to you, God willing. So there we go, an introduction to Sycamore, the key ingredients, some practical things, and how to get started. I hope this has been helpful. Above all, let's put it all into God's hands. Yes, I'm praying for you, and I encourage you to pray for your own parishes and communities and to make a special prayer. Lord, if Sycamore can help us in our mission and in our ministry, help us to find a way. And I pray that Sycamore can be a blessing for you and for your communities. Thank you, and God bless.